Obviously, a big supporter of President Bush's policies. When Guantanamo Bay shuts down, do you believe that Americans are going to be at greater risk?
Well, we don't know that yet. I give President Obama great credit for the symbolism of today. People just hearing about this story probably think he is or has closed Guantanamo down. He hasn't. His advisors now have a year to figure out what to do with the dangerous terrorists who are there. Don't forget, people, I've been to Guantanamo. It's not the place that's the problem. It's those who are there. Some can be released. Many, hundreds have been released. About 60 of them, a little more than that, have returned to the battlefield. What is a great danger, and the young woman you had on expressed it, is once they come to the U.S., they will have the constitutional rights due Americans. Some of them, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was one of the masterminds of 9/11. You want to be careful that you don't have lawyers immediately saying, okay, now they have to be released because they have to go to, you don't have evidence against them. Their confessions were coerced. You have to reveal your intelligence sources. We don't want these people living in Atlanta. We don't want them living in Miami, New York, or even Hollywood.
But that's kind of an absurd point.
I disagree completely. We have a legal system in this country that has tried Zacarias Moussaoui. It has tried the blind sheik. We have had terrorism trials. These people are in prison. Our legal system is completely capable. We're talking about maybe 40 trials. That is the way the system is supposed to work, not through these secret detentions and endless holding people without charges. Let the system work. We've got a legal system here that's done us very proud.
What you have to understand, Jeff, and I think this is very important, is that our soldiers abroad are not CSI Miami. They're not collecting evidence the way a detective would. You're right about 1993, the blind sheikh went to jail, and the prosecutor was Andy McCarthy, who works for my foundation. He's written a book, which I commend to you, called Willful Blindness, which says that we cannot use the legal justice system in the war against terrorism alone by itself. You have sources and methods to protect in terms of intelligence, and you don't have soldiers gathering evidence on the battlefield. So if these terrorists come to the U.S. and they have lawyers, as they will, as they do already, by the way, and they get out, what do you do with them? We would like to send them back to other countries. A lot of countries won't take them. We cannot have them released in the U.S. We can't try all of them. We just can't.
Peter, let me get you to weigh in on this, and this is more big picture. I mean, what do you make of the argument that Guantanamo has so tarnished America's image in the Muslim world that it's actually made us less safe in many ways because it's given terrorists something to rally around?
Well, there's no doubt about it. It's been a moral catastrophe, not only in the Muslim world, but around the world. So, you know, the closing it is important symbolically. But, you know, I think we can all agree that closing Guantanamo, it's a physical place. What's really at the discussion here is what is the legal framework into which not only the people in Guantanamo will go, but other people that we capture in the future? Will they go to military commissions, as is the present situation, or will they go into a federal civilian court, or even face a regular U.S. Army courts-martial, which is also another option? These are the various questions that the Obama administration is going to weigh. But I agree completely with Jeffrey. When terrorists have been trialed in the United States, they go away forever. The embassy attackers in '98 who blew up 2 American embassies, they're in prison for life without parole. Ramzi Youssef, the guy who blew up the World Trade Center the first time, he's in prison for 240 years in the Supermax prison in Colorado, which is basically a living hell. It's almost preferable to be executed than be there. No. So, you know, the idea that somehow these terrorists are going to be released is just absolutely nonsensical.
And Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who is clearly the worst of the worst, he is under indictment in federal district court today in the embassy bombing cases. He could be brought there and be tried. The legal system can work. The Obama administration is also considering creating some sort of new procedures if there are some people who can't be tried in federal district court, a national security court of some kind. So it does seem like the system should be given a try after all these years.
And Jeffrey, I'll give you the last word. Go ahead.
I agree with you on the idea of some new system for this, such as a national security court, which has been proposed by people like Andy McCarthy, who I mentioned, who was the prosecutor in 1993. I wish the Bush administration had moved forward on that, because I do think that if we go back to the pre-9/11 view that terrorism is simply a criminal justice matter, we will not succeed in this fight that we have been fighting for 30 years, really, since actually Jeffrey Toobin's father sent me to Iran actually 30 years ago next month when we both worked for Channel 13.
All right.
I was going to say, did he send you to prison or anything? No, it was a journalistic assignment.
It was a journalistic assignment for Bill Moyer's show 30 years ago,
Terrific.
Okay, to Peter, to Cliff, and to Jeff, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Also, order